Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Somewhere in podCastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. It is Mike Matthews with all kinds of interesting topicas here.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
On Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in the land of podCastro Valley. podCastro Valley is a real place. I have to tell you, it's true. If you go there, sometime in the middle of August somewhere, there's a cruise night, and everybody gets rid of all their cares, and they drive their old cars up and down the street, the boulevard.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Castro Valley Boulevard. In the 15 years that I've lived in Castro Valley, I have never been, and I actually went, and it was fantastic.
Daily
Big shout out to
Podcast.
Carol, who never listens to this podcast, so the shout out's useless, but she told us about it. So my lovely lady friend and I went down there, actually saw an ex-in-law and his lovely family. It was great to see them again after years and years. It's been like over 10 years since I've seen them. And so that's what it's all about when you have these little downtown events going on in your little town, wherever that is. That just makes it all so cool. And we had dinner at a nice restaurant. Well, nice. I mean, it was nice that we were sitting outside and watching the cars go by. That was nice. And had some great food. So yes, it's fun to get out there and enjoy those things in the world of California. We have such a car culture here, and to celebrate the cars, that's one of the cool things about California. Forget about all the stuff you hear about our morals, they're completely off the rails. Oh, our taxes, they're completely through the roof. Oh, the homeless situation is so bad. Yes, there's some validity to all of that, and a lot of validity. And when I look and open up my property taxes, which is coming soon, I know it's going to make my validity fly right off my head, and I'm going to go probably into some bit of liquidity. It's going to be a lot of humidity.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Just hovering above me. But speaking of humidity, in the land of Huntsville, Alabama, where I used to live, they are also having a homeless issue. A lot of unhoused. I did not know that there's a huge encampment over at a place called The Slate. And I thought, it was just a Bay Area thing. East Bay, Oakland thing, San Francisco thing, San Jose thing. Nope. It's all over the country and possibly all over the world. So it is more and more in our face and more something we need to take care of. And there's the late great Basil the Boxer barking at us to say, hey, take a look at this. Mike, what's the podcast picture? You announced it earlier and did not say what it was. You left us hanging. We're going to go back in time to a year ago. We'll go to a podcast picture from the cruise night, maybe. Either one of those. See that at mikesdailypodcast.com. It'll be fantastic. Did you know that Chick-fil-A is way too expensive for me now? When I lived in Alabama, that was really the first time I enjoyed Chick-fil-A. And there was a nice lady, when I would get my food, she'd go, have a blessed day. And I thought that was awesome. And I'd get my real nice orange shake or whatever it was of some kind that was good. And the chicken was great. Then it got so expensive, it's like, why don't I just sit down at a real restaurant?
Life grand.
Ain't life grand. That's the way things have gone. But they have just opened a new multi-story restaurant in Georgia. Sweet Georgia. No place I've ever known. The location is drive-through only and has lanes just for customers who order through the chain's app. This goes back to what I was saying just about 5 seconds ago. Why spend all those prices? You're just going to eat in your car. You might as well sit down in a nice restaurant and have them bring you water and have a conversation with the food server versus just driving off and leaving all the wrappers in your car, or worse yet, throwing them outside of your car window, which a lot of people do with fast food stuff. It should be able to handle, this new Chick-fil-A, a lot more people than other sites and serving you faster. This is McDonough, Georgia.
What's the cliche of the week?
That's about a 30-mile drive
What's the cliche of the week?
from their headquarters, which is in Georgia.
What's the cliche of the week?
And let's see,
What's the cliche of the week?
the chain opened its first location. It's been around since 1993. Oh, I didn't realize that. Chick-fil-A said in its announcement that the model is designed to expedite services. And, okay, well, there you go.
What's the cliche of the week?
That from the wonderful people
What's the cliche of the week?
at marketstoday.com.
What's the cliche of the week?
In other fast food news,
What's the cliche of the week?
Walmart is going to do something to try and, well, help get more customers. They are set to give customers of its subscription program free burgers as part of its new partnership with a major fast food chain. Which one is it? The grocery giant's $98 a year subscription service, trying to compete with Amazon, will offer its users a 25% discount on all orders and give them free Whoppers every 3 months as part of a new deal with Burger King. The retailer launched its subscription program 4 years ago in a bid to compete with Amazon. Amazon Prime costs $139 a year. Walmart Plus is what they call it. Costs $98 a year.
News random.
That's my news random for you. They also offer similar benefits like free shipping, same-day grocery delivery. Burger King will be looking to use the partnership to reel in customers to get the customers rather that were put off by years of fast food price rises. And especially within the past year, we've really noticed it. To get a free Whopper, Walmart Plus members must link their account with a free Burger King Royal Perks profile and then place your order through the Burger King app. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in PodCastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. The partnership is another direct challenge to Amazon, which they themselves partnered with Grubhub to give its members the food delivery app subscription for free. Despite Walmart's efforts, though, it still trails Amazon in terms of subscriber numbers. And neither company...
Mike's scavenger hunt.
As I'm looking around, neither company gives, in my scavenger hunt, neither gives specific breakdowns of their memberships, but recently a third-party analysis states that Walmart has around 29 million members, far fewer than Amazon's 184 million subscribers. But speaking of Amazon, they're having trouble in the District of Columbia with a lawsuit. An antitrust lawsuit the District of Columbia brought against Amazon was revived recently after a federal appeals court reversed a lower court's decision to dismiss the complaint. A Supreme Court trial judge set too high a bar for the district's complaint, which presented sufficient facts to survive Amazon's motion to have the case thrown out. The District of Columbia's court...
For your entertainment, the one, the only, Mike Matthews!
Gracias. Thank you. That's who I am. The District of Columbia Court of Appeals reported. No, well, that's not the verb I want. They ruled, is what they did. They ruled. So they say the District of Columbia can proceed with its antitrust lawsuit against Amazon. The DC complaint alleged the company's inflated prices for consumers and they stifled innovation through practices such as contract provisions that prevented sellers, if you are a seller on Amazon, you know this, from offering their products at lower prices. You could not do it on lower prices or on better terms on your own website or your own platform. You had to have the lower prices on Amazon.
The Mike tip.
That's the tip today for you. And in other interesting lawsuits, the Justice Department has filed a civil lawsuit against the real estate company called RealPage, alleging the company's software uses landlord data to artificially inflate the price of rent across the U.S. by quelling competition in the market. The Texas-based company used, this is the complaint, used non-public data from landlords to train RealPage's algorithm for pricing recommendations, creating a vast scheme to subvert the competitive process. Americans should not have to pay more in rent because the company has found a new way to scheme with landlords to break the law, said Attorney General Merrick Garland. We allege that RealPage's pricing algorithm enables landlords to share confidential, competitive and sensitive information and align their rents. Wow. And the software, according to the complaint, uses non-public data provided by landlords to see what competitors are charging or offering to maximize the amount landlords can charge, as well as other ways they can make more money from renters. And Garland, it's so funny he said this, because this is from a skit on Saturday Night Live, which was based on an actual guy running for office in New York. The rent is too damn high, and this is one of the reasons why, he said at a press conference. And one last thing, so we talked about quelling. I used the verb quelling. Another verb that kind of sounds like that's not very nice is culling. That is when farmers have to kill a bunch of their animals due to a disease. We heard a lot about that with the big avian flu, or the bird flu, or the thing we had earlier this year. I've already forgotten what it was.
The Newsbleed section.
I think it was the avian flu, because now we got the Mpox that we got to worry about in the Newsbleed section. Let's see. That was the last thing. 100 million birds in the U.S. were killed. And now in this, what the heck? Who is this? You Interview News. A new, this says here, avian flu could spread to household cats. What? Okay, that sounds a little. Bird flu is infecting pet cats. Here's what you need to know, says Scientific America. Okay, what is it we need to know? In March, scientists confirmed that the H5N1 was sickening cows on dairy farms. There were only 13 human cases. And now the virus is being found in indoor cats. Colorado Department of Public Health announced on August 9th that 6 cat infections in the state have been confirmed. 2 of those detections were actually samples collected in May.
Wine. Well, I like
The whiny white man wine list.
I'm whining. I'm whining about what? I don't want my cat infected. 2 of those detections were samples collected in May, but at least 3 were samples collected in July. What's particularly worrying about the new announcement is that 2 of the infected cats were indoor animals. Scientists say this is a sign that the virus is widespread in animals and inching closer to touching the average American's daily life. This from Scientific America. These, however, are not the first cats to be infected with the strain of avian influenza seen in dairy cows. At least 36 domestic cats nationwide have been reported to have the infection since March, including in the hard-hit states of Texas and Michigan. But some of the felines lived on dairy farms. There you go. Plausibly roaming among the infected cows, roaming among them as cats like to do, and drinking milk chock full of the virus.
That's a nightmare of a show.
Nightmare of a farm is what that is, because there's virus in the milk. Outdoor cats can also get infected from birds or small animals they prey on. That is the thing about outdoor cats. You got to be careful as a cat owner. And cats like to be outside. But the possibilities are these cats might have caught the virus from an infected mouse inside the home, or perhaps even picked it up from a human with an unknown asymptomatic infection from contact with other animals. Either of these scenarios suggests the bird flu is even more entrenched than we realized. Yeah, we haven't heard too much about the avian influenza virus these days.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
Yes, thank you. It's been great to have you, whoever you are. Pet owners who are concerned about bird flu should be aware of potential routes of exposure for their animals. Don't feed them raw milk, this article says, or raw foods, whether commercially purchased or prepared at home. Humans should also take raw milk, eggs, and meat off their menus. Pasteurization has been known to kill the virus in milk, and cooking food kills most pathogens. Cats with access to the outdoors are at risk, and cats with access to the outdoors are at risk for everything, but this is another one, particularly during unsupervised time when they could be hunting infected animals. Domestic dogs have not yet been reported with avian influenza, but those who might interact with water birds, those dogs that might interact with water birds may be at a higher risk of exposure. Watch for changes in behavior that indicate a pet might be sick, especially a loss of appetite or trouble breathing, and consult your veterinarian if you are concerned. In addition, people with pet ferrets, those are the ones I like to call video store owners with leather jackets, should be particularly cautious because these animals are highly susceptible to influenza viruses and can develop infections. Experts say the U.S. government and society at large need to start taking avian influenza seriously. And I guess that's what this article is from Scientific America, trying to take it seriously. But what I found interesting about the culling of all these other animals that now I don't think they kill the cats. I hope they don't, that are infected. But the animals on the farm, of course, that are going to be eaten, that are killed to be eaten by people, and then there's the fluenza in the meat. That's what they don't want to happen. But what do they do with all of the corpses, the dead animals that they've killed? Well, according to Copilot in Bing.com, which the Bing app is turned to crap. It does not work anymore. It is so slow. It freezes constantly. And I don't know what YouTube has done, but YouTube has really cracked down on using ad blockers. You cannot even use an ad blocker anymore to stop watching Kamala Harris asking you for $5. I need about $3.50 is what that South Park joke I'm alluding to with the Loch Ness Monster and Chef's parents. But yes, what they do with and I was wondering, what do they do with all these poor killed animals that were going to be meat for us non-vegetarian types? Well, one of the things they do is composting. In some cases, especially for smaller animals or those culled due to disease, composting is used as a method of disposable. Gosh, I guess in the end we're all disposable. Sad. Burial or incineration. I'm almost done with this very uplifting topic. Hold on. For disease control, animals may be buried or incinerated to prevent the spread of infectious diseases. That's a lot of burning. And does that not go into the air? Some animals are sent to rendering plants where they are processed into byproducts like animal feed, fertilizer, and industrial fats, but that would probably not be done with the infected meat type animals. But it says here, culling is an essential practice in agriculture to maintain herd health and productivity. So it's tough business. My hat goes off to you farmers out there. What you do is really, that's tough. And thank you for what you do. But I'm going to try to eat less meat. When all that talk was happening with the avian flu, and it was really big a few months ago, the discussion about it, I was like, I'm just going to eat more tofu. But it's tough. It's tough when you can barbecue a boneless, skinless chicken breast on the grill so easily. However, prices have gone up with that particular type of meat. So maybe it is back to tofu. Anyway, Café Anyway, that's the end of we were talking about Chick-fil-A. We were talking about chickens. We're talking about cold chickens. We're talking now about Benita. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? And it's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you what. What? I'm amazed that your recording device didn't stop recording all of a sudden when you went off on that tangent. Tell you what. What? Usually it stops your recording device. Yeah. Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and it kept recording. So what I'm saying must be important. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, I make delicious root beer house right now. Oh, boy. All right, I'm going to drink it now. Oh, that's amazing. What's in that? I put some happy juice in it. Oh, boy. I don't even want to know what that is. But for some reason, I'm happy now. I'm dancing, and I'm the happiest man in the world. Look at me. Woo! It must be because of my fantastic book, Why Podcasting Makes Us All Happy. Buy it wherever you can. Amazon, Walmart Plus. It's Etsy. Buy it off my website, mikesdailypodcast.com. But go next door to your neighbor, ask for it to borrow it. I'm sure they have a copy right now. It's great. Go do that now. Go say hi. Go hug your neighbor. As long as your neighbor isn't some mean person that you really don't, or smells bad, or maybe has avian flu, maybe you want to avoid them. But it's all a community thing. Going out and enjoying the great people in your town on a cruise night. Woo! What do you think about cruise night and all that stuff and birds? And chickens. And burgers. And tofu. Here's the number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640. Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Phone for all.
Aw, will you shut up?
Will you shut up?
Thanks, will you shut up? Hey, and with all things Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
That was FF episode 2897. I didn't even get to the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds controversy about how Blake Lively has been behaving not so well in interviews lately for some movie she's in. And then there's Ryan Reynolds, who has a lot of money, and the interesting storyline about him and his previous wife, which was the Scarlett Johansson and Alanis Morissette before that, and all that stuff I learned from my lovely lady friend. Maybe we'll get to that next time, tomorrow, next podcast. We'll see. But tune in, come back, check it out. With all things Mike's Daily Podcast, go to our website and enjoy all the other FF episodes. This was FF episode 2897. Catch all the past podcasts at mikesdailypodcast.com.